Hey,
Good
good morning.
morning. Good morning to you. We've had tornado warnings coming out of my phone like crazy all day. We've got tornadoes all over us, so
Oh,
I might have to hunker down under the knee hole any minute, but
we we have pretty good weather. I can't complain for
oh, that's
Ohio.
good. Wait, I thought you had big ice storms and stuff coming your way.
It missed us. It went south.
Woo!
So right now it's like 40, 50, and just kind of cloudy.
Oh,
So
good.
I'm
Okay,
fine with
good.
that.
All right, well, don't come over here right
Yeah.
now. But it's going to be fine weather for when you come for the Houston Channeling Eric event,
I
so that's good.
I can't wait.
Hi, Eric.
It's
We got
gonna
our.
be.
This is going to be so much fun. Eric, I got so many interesting things to talk with you about today. How are you doing today?
He's like doing a drum roll. He's going like this. He says, "I got you, Mom. Like I got your back."
Oh, are you doing okay?
He says, "I'm proud to tell you he's proud of you," and he says, "I love you."
Oh, that's
He
so
keeps saying,
sweet.
"I'm proud. I'm
Oh,
proud."
I'm proud of you too, baby. Are you,
That's a symbol. I use all these funny hand symbols, and when they do that, that's their way of communicating sometimes. So that's his way of saying he's proud of you.
so, Eric, are you excited about people coming to your home and learning from you?
That's where, I think that's where he's going with the "I'm proud." Because I said, "Well, do you want to talk more about that?" He says, I'm proud that you work so hard and you never stop. You never stop giving or doing for people." And the proud part comes in. I feel like just this event, this is a whole new level of putting yourself and channeling Erik out there by bringing people into your home. Like this is a whole nother level, he says, and this is going to require. I mean, this is going to be. He's showing you going through all these different emotions this weekend. Like it's going to be fun, exciting, weird, confusing. Like just going through all these different emotions of just trying to analyze how I feel about all this. And when I say I'm talking as if I'm you.
Yeah,
So. Um, that's why he keeps saying I'm proud, because nonetheless, he says the bottom line is this takes a lot of courage.
yeah.
He says you should be proud.
Oh, thank you. All right. Uh, let's start off with, gosh, where do we start? What about, there's three small topics that people have submitted, and I think they can all fit into one YouTube. I'm not sure. But here's one from a blog member. What's really going on in Antarctica? Why is most of it a no-fly zone? What was Buzz Aldrin's original tweet about it being pure evil and a picture of a supposed pyramid? Like, is it an alien base? The Nazis were apparently fascinated by it, and Admiral Byrd had many things to say as well. All right. That's kind of a little long-winded, but what's going on there? What's the mystery about Antarctica?
It's really interesting what he's showing me. A lot of times he'll go back and forth between communicating through clairvoyance and clairaudience. And he's showing me like this image of Antarctica, but then above it, it looks like sacred geometry, like, but then he's also explaining what that is. I don't know what sacred geometry is really. I have never read anything about it, but what Erik is showing, like he's showing this weird grid,
Mm-hmm.
but it's an energy grid. It's like it's interesting though, because first he shows it to me like a triangle and it has all these different lines through it,
Uh-huh.
but then he kind of shifts the perspective, like he turns it and then it turns into like an octagon with even more lines through it. Basically though, what he's showing is energetically, he goes a portal, a vortex, whatever you want to call it. So this is a highly concentrated area of energy. Um, he's really emphasizing this place as a vortex, as an energy portal way, like a travel, like interdimensional
Wow. Is it
portal.
was it made
So
naturally, or is it made by aliens or mankind, or?
he says no, it's naturally. It has to do with the geographic location, everything about the location of this place, but it's natural. It's not man-made. It's not anything else made. He says this is a place where he actually says, like, I don't know if this has been experienced, but like electronics, he says, will go to shit. Those are his words, like electronics will go to shit. Because when you have energy that's naturally so high or so intense, he's talking about like the electromagnetic fields.
Okay.
It just jacks up our man-made devices. It interferes with those frequencies and their effectiveness, their functionality.
Okay.
So the draw, you know, there's so many reasons why all these different people or different cultures, he says, are drawn to this area. He actually says it has to do with past lives too. So first, he wants you to think about this as, so we know, look at Sedona. We know Sedona has like energy vortices out there, but this Sedona, basically, he says, isn't even on the scale in comparison to Antarctica. So it's so intense, and I think the reason why people are drawn to it is because of past life experiences with it. But so I asked him, like, well, what's, you know, someone said it might be evil, or what's that all about? He says, well, and he's real matter of fact. He kind of shifts his tone. He's real matter of fact. He says, well, that all depends on your consciousness as far as what you perceive and how you perceive it. If you perceive it being evil or low, that's just a reflection of your consciousness. Now, I'm not calling you evil, he says, but it's a reflection of where you are in your expansion, in your personal growth, your capability to understand. So basically, if you can look at it without judgment, well, not necessarily without judgment, like look at it being neutral without attachments to ideas or concepts, then is when you can have a real experience with it.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be surprised, like, this is interesting. He says, I wouldn't be surprised if like massive communication happens here between veils. So if, you know, if a medium or psychic or something to that effect could travel to, and he's kind of showing both, so bear with me, could travel to the area, I wouldn't be surprised if they are just extremely overstimulated and overwhelmed by the energy. But then also he says, well, you don't have to physically go there. You could, you know, tap in, you know, as a quantum way of communication. You don't have to be there physically to experience it. You know that, he says.
Wow. Because I think Jamie was going there, or is going there, or has gone there recently. Jamie the medium.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that's interesting. She's taking a tour there. Well,
he's showing.
Go ahead.
This vortex or portal being. It seems like it's a place that has. So he says, you know, Mom, every place has like a collective consciousness. Every place has a vibe. Every place has a feel. And he's like doing this with his hands. He says, here, the collective consciousness is, it feels extremely expansive, and it feels like infinite wisdom. I know that probably sounds silly. It's not just secluded to being that place only, but it feels like the collective consciousness holds a lot of wisdom that's far beyond our current time. But this is weird. Like, I don't know what this means. Have there been, it's almost like, do you know, I'm sure Erik is actually referencing the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you've heard of.
So it's kind of like that?
Yeah, he's kind of comparing it to the Bermuda Triangle energetically. Like, there's a lot of mysteries surrounding both, but he's talking about like disappearances and deaths and that sort of thing too, being very similar. So he says, I don't, you know, I'll have to take his advice after this session, but he says do some research on both and see how they compare.
All right.
So,
Well, do the
interesting.
aliens have anything to do with it? And is there an alien base there in Antarctica or under Antarctica?
He says no, like his energy doesn't resonate with that. But what he is saying is, because I asked him, well, as far as the climate, are they there? Can they be there? And he's actually saying that extraterrestrial beings, um, whether they manifest physically or not, the environment has nothing to do with their capabilities. So he says they know of Antarctica, but as far as like stationed there,
Okay.
he doesn't resonate with that. He actually just gave me the word, this is really interesting, to describe aliens. He gave me the word nomads. Like,
Oh,
I
okay.
don't think they're going to be stationed. You're
Okay.
not going to find them stationed in one place, he says.
So they don't even use the vortex at all?
Oh, yeah, they use it. And Eric's like whispering like this. He says, that's how they're so effective. He keeps whispering, like, that's why they're so effective, talking about aliens. Um, because of their like nomadic nature. Like they don't stay attached to a certain place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, think of them more widespread, more collectively. No, not collectively. Working on us, working with us as a whole. Um, they don't pick and choose, he says. He's kind of laughing when he
Okay.
says that. I don't know.
Well,
Funny.
what do they use it for? What can that vortex be used for? Is it a portal to travel somewhere, or just give me all its uses, if any? Just go in and make you feel
Okay, so
good, or
he's gonna talk from our side first, like for the use of humans, for
okay,
us. So this is a place where it to me he's such a dude. He keeps going easy access, easy access.
mm-hmm.
So he's talking about it being easy access to other dimensions. Because of the high frequencies, the higher vibrations, it's naturally for us, I feel like if humans travel to this area, it's going to be very overstimulating energetically, and because it's raising our vibration naturally. So when you're in that place and in that state, he's showing it then being very easy to communicate beyond the physical realm. So from our perspective, we can reach out to beyond the veil, so to speak, much easier when we're in these type of electromagnetic fields.
So talking,
On the other side,
I could talk to you then. Is that you're talking about communication with spirits in heaven, right? Okay,
yeah, communication beyond all physical.
okay.
So interdimensional beings.
Oh,
Um, yeah, he's showing like interdimensional beings being able to like travel through here. Um, from their side, though, from his side, his perspective, this is a place. Again, it kind of mirrors what he just said. This is a place where it's easy for us to communicate. It's
yeah.
easy for us to get through because it's just like it naturally fosters the process. Like it's basically what he's showing is God, it's so hard to put into words. It's like trying to I don't even know if he can give an example. It's the frequency, it's the vibration that
Okay.
makes it so easy to exist within. So it's like going to another place, and he could give an example. Um, and he says going to another place with a much lower or dense vibration, it's nearly impossible for us to get through.
Yeah.
That's why you have people all around the world that have crazy experiences and other people that say they never hear from their loved ones, because it has a lot to do with the frequencies, not only that at your personal level, your consciousness is, but collectively where you are too. So
And
this is a place,
geographically, the geography too. Wow. Okay.
yeah, this is a place where um, it's known. He's talking about like on the other side from Eric's perspective where he is, like this is a known place, hot spot, like where we can travel. So if people do travel there, I wouldn't be surprised if they had the right equipment and everything based on what Eric is showing for it to be so easy to pick up like EVPs.
Oh, I bet.
I mean, all kinds of stuff like that. Like he's showing it, those veils being very, very thin, being very easy to like cross through, travel through.
Okay.
So like, and he's even talking about Jamie, like if she were to go there, I mean, she's probably already very gifted or talented anyway, but if she were to go there and maybe try to trans channel or something, I feel like it would be
tons easier.
like, I mean, it feels like the veils between our world and theirs are almost like
there we go. Another channeling Erik event in Antarctica, 2018. That'd be cool.
Lord save my soul.
Oh Jesus!
I couldn't.
Oh, but so if we went there, we could pick up spirits and EVPs and all that much better. But we couldn't actually travel to another dimension through the portal, right?
He shakes his head no, because he says humans are still too attached to their own thought process that keeps them grounded.
Okay.
That like keeps them here in this experience.
Sure.
He says you may have a few that may be able to have like these out of body experiences. Keeps using the word legit. He says like legit out of body experiences, but for us to actually vanish and travel, we're too attached for that yet.
Is there
Circles
anything,
the word yet.
Okay. Is there anything interesting under the ice at all? Under all that ice, there's probably just a little postage stamp size piece of land. No, I'm teasing.
He's
like in there a lake or something, maybe.
He's not. He doesn't give anything on that.
Okay.
He just stands and resonates.
One last question: What is sacred geometry, and what does it have to do with this? And maybe we need a whole session about sacred geometry. I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard about it. I see it everywhere. I've just never taken the time to educate myself. So let's see. So this is where the language comes in, because when he gets fired up about something, his language does too. His language gets all colorful. He's like going like this. He has his eyes real big. He says, sacred geometry, he says, will freak you the fuck out. He says, because it's, he says sacred geometry is everything. It's in everything. It's a part of everything. And it's almost like everything exists within it. So he says it will overwhelmingly show you. He says, for you, Mom, I think you'll like this because of your scientific nature. It shows overwhelmingly how everything is connected, like how everything affects everything else. Like it's this big web. Like he shows everything's connected through sacred geometry. Now, as far as, because I asked him, well, how come you showed me that triangle with all the lines and then it turned into like an octagon? He's showing like different shapes, the different lines in them, or the way that it's like divided up. No matter what we're talking about, if it's a blade of grass or, a tree, a body, everything, Mom, he says, will have a rhythm to it. He's showing, and that rhythm puts off a frequency too, and it's measured through geometry.
Okay. Well, maybe we should do a separate, you think we should do a separate thing on this?
Yeah, because he has a lot to say about this. He's just kind of going into showing like the universal concept and the universal effect. I mean, how everything's connected through this. And he's talking about rhythms and how one affects the other, and like the scale, what is it? Newton's law.
Okay.
He keeps saying that.
Okay, we'll have another, we'll have a different session, maybe right after this one. I don't know. But one last question on You say that's a really high frequency there. Do you know what the frequency is? And if so, can't we duplicate that in a lab somewhere and achieve the same results of being able to communicate with the other side so easily?
He says he's answering your second question first. You can duplicate it. He says it can be done, but there's a big difference between it naturally occurring and being man-made. Sure, it might still have the same number recording or whatever you want to call it, but he says for it to occur naturally is going to have a more profound effect on you. So if it was created in a lab, you may feel it, you may pick up on it, especially people that do practice the communication beyond the veil or whatever. But I think us as humans, we're going to be more impacted where it's naturally occurring.
Okay.
Especially, he keeps pointing to the third eye, so especially through clairvoyance.
Okay.
So then when you're talking about a number, is there a number? I guess we're going to go in hertz, like I see H,
Okay.
Z, H, Z. So he's going up above 800 hertz.
Wow. Okay.
And then he's talking about, like, because I said, like, when he keeps going up, so he keeps raising it. When he goes 800 and then he keeps going up. But then he's talking about, like, even if it is man-made, it seems like it's hard to withstand or hard to, it's not the same. Like, he's showing, like, okay, over here it's man-made, and he's showing over here it's natural. Man-made, this vibration still has more density to it, whereas naturally occurring, it seems obviously more authentic, but it just seems easier for him to come through and communicate. Like, he's showing, and he's using color too to describe it. So over here where it's more dense, he's showing red. Over here where it's naturally occurring, he's showing like a iridescent white, silvery kind of. So it's really interesting.
Well, why? What is the difference?
That's what I said. Well, why would it be different?
Sacred geometry involved? And maybe there's no.
Yes, I can't believe you just said that.
Oh, wow.
You just said that.
It popped into my head. I must have channeled him. Cool.
You see, you do. He started going back to talking about sacred geometry, but he says, see, Kim, you need to learn about sacred geometry because it shows how everything's affected by everything else. Nothing is independently existing. So he's showing, like, sacred geometry is, everything is linked through sacred geometry. Now, over here with the man-made frequencies, it's connected, right? It's affected by the people making it, the equipment to making it. So it's going to be impacted that way. Whereas it's naturally occurring, it's less affected by you to be in existence, like to exist.
Well,
that vibration.
Maybe if we created some whatever, I can't remember what we call it, dome of sacred geometry type links and triangles and all that, and then raise the vibration. Would that help? I mean, can we create the sacred geometry that would be necessary? And then that's it. We have to close.
He says you can. It would be very intense and it would take deep focus, but you can.
Okay. All right. Well,
he kind of was laughing and says, you guys should see the shit you create with your thoughts and your emotions. You should see the stuff you create.
Oh, my God. It must be scary. Oh, geez. All right. Well, thank you.
Says,
what now?
You're welcome. He says you would do a lot less thinking and a lot more feeling if we could see the direct feedback of what our thoughts do sometimes in our emotions. So
mine go everywhere. Mine are crazy. All right, I love you, Erik.
Yeah.
I will talk to you in a few. Kim, I will talk to you in a few too. I like that.
Okay.
I will talk to you in a few too.
I love you, Mom.
Bye. Love you.